it's Leonie and you're watching episode 4 of the LDR Chronicles. Today I'm going to be discussing and giving you some advice and tips on that daunting process of finally telling your closest friends and your family and of course your parents about your newfound romance. So this part of the process is probably a bit more daunting for those of you who come from a very conservative family, conservative parents, probably those of you who come from Asian families where your parents are super overprotective of you and especially overprotective of their daughters. So I've actually noticed that a lot of people who start a long distance relationship or an online relationship are usually quite young. They're still teenagers and they really haven't established their careers, their futures, and they're just really going in there all guns blazing and just giving their heart into this online relationship. And in that respect, it's really hard to suddenly tell your friends and family about this relationship, especially if you do have family and friends and parents who are extremely overprotective of you and want the best for your future. So here's my advice for those of you who are going to be telling your parents about your newfound romance and basically trying to help them to understand where your romance and relationship is heading, where your future is heading, and hopefully by the end of it they'll be 100% supportive of you and your significant other. So the first step is for you to understand and acknowledge their perspectives and opinions. I find that you're not going to get anywhere with your conservative parents if you don't really understand their perspective. So for example, maybe you come from a very conservative Asian family. Your parents are very overprotective and believe that you should have an Asian boyfriend or a girlfriend, someone that's ethnically the same, with the same religion, etc, etc. This is probably more prominent in older generations where they place a lot more value on cultural, traditional aspects of life and society. Being brought up in, let's say, a more westernized world, our values on those particular cultural, traditional things isn't as defined as our parents. So it's really important to understand why it's important to them so that you can tell them that yes, I know it's important to you, but also my life and my happiness is also important to me. And we are living in a really increasingly globalized world where everyone is connected to everybody. And the beauty about that is that sharing cultures and sharing traditions and sharing these really, beautiful things about culture and life and society is what is so beautiful about finding a significant other across the world that you can share all these special things with. My second tip is to prepare to tell your parents everything you know about your significant other. This includes their name, their age, where they're from, their parents, their family, their siblings, their friends, their goals and aspirations in life, what they're currently doing, what they're studying, etc, etc. I believe that the more that you know about your significant other that you can tell your parents, it will kind of squash any insecurities and doubts and their obliviousness to the whole situation. It's really important to actually prove to your parents that, hey, the person you're talking to online in Jamaica or whatever is actually a real person and not just some guy who is tricking you out of your money and wasting your time. My third tip is to actually have photos in hand to actually give a face to the person that you've been describing to your parents. This is going to come in handy if your parents ask for photos of your significant other just so they can put a face to the name, to the aspirations and goals that he has. And this way, by showing photographs of him or her looking lovely in their selfie poses or with their family and friends, you will be squashing the doubts in the wondering minds of your parents. Let me tell you, if you tell me oh, my daughter has a new boyfriend that's from Antarctica and I have no idea how it looks like, my mind will go 1,000 places and assume so many things. So squashing all those assumptions that your parents will have prior will be very beneficial in your mission to help them understand your relationship. Number 4. Now I am a true believer in this, but if you are happy, your parents should be happy too. So at the end of the day, most parents, not saying all parents do this, but most parents should want you to be happy and successful in your life. You and your parents should have a kind of understanding of what happiness is. But I truly believe that if your parents can physically see that you are happier than you were before because of this relationship, then they should be supportive of it. Even if they shut down and disagree with your relationship entirely, you should never show frustration or anger, because this will only make the situation worse and cause a drift between your parents and a drift between your parents and your significant other. It is much easier to convince somebody that something is good if you can actually prove that it's having a positive effect on you. Number 5 is to let your parents become more involved in your relationship. When I say this, I kind of mean it's like meeting the parents for the first time, but online. I think the more that your parents are involved and connected with your relationship, the more they know what's going on, the better it will be for them to kind of understand where the relationship is going, and hopefully it will help them to accept your relationship and see how much of a nice person this guy is behind the screen. And lastly, number 6 is to kind of give a projection to your parents about where your relationship is heading. Where is this online long distance relationship going to end up? And this doesn't have to be really set in stone, but as long as they kind of understand where your life is taking you, they will hopefully be a bit more calmer about the situation than if you're just like going all willy-nilly and like saying, oh, I'm going to go to Antarctica in a month's time to visit this dude and who knows where it will end up, but you know, here's $3,000 that I'm just going to waste on a plane ticket, even though nothing might come out of it. Being able to kind of tell your parents where this is going, what will happen, who will move where, will you have enough money, what are you going to do for the future, what about your career, is your partner going to move to the Philippines, or are you going to move to the Netherlands, etc, etc, or Italy or Brazil or Italy. These are some of the things that you really need to think about, and it should also play a big part of you and your parents' relationship so that you can kind of come together to discuss future plans. At the end of the day, you're trying to ease your parents' minds from wondering about, oh my god, my daughter, my son, what is he going to do if he's going to move to, you know, Spain? He doesn't know how to speak Spanish. What's he gonna do over there in Spain? What will he do with his career, etc, etc. It's really all about easing their minds and giving them a peace of mind. So those are just some of my personal tips on how you can approach telling your parents about your relationship for the first time. And you know, it's not just a one-off thing, you're always going to have to update them. There are so many different ways to approach this subject. I'm sure that those of you who have already done that process of telling your closest friends and family and your parents probably have some awesome tips too. So if you have done that already, I'd love to know how that went for you. You can leave them in the comments below. And I guess I really wish you guys all the luck in the world, because you know, it's a really tough thing sometimes when you have to choose between family or a boyfriend. And you know, I personally feel much more better and less guilt if my parents are happy with my relationship. And thankfully for me, it has all worked out. Okay, we're moving on to this episode's LDR question. Instead of me answering it, I'm actually going to get Matthias to answer it. So take it away, Matthias.
Hey, thank you honey for bringing me on the show. I'm here to answer a question by Agnes Vanessa Shang, and she asks, how do you deal with when your partner has huge sense of insecurities? And first of all, in a long distance relationship, there are plenty of insecurities you can have. You can be insecure about the relationship, if it's gonna work out or not. You can be insecure about smaller things like, what is my partner doing when I'm sleeping, or what's going on, you know, insecure about whether or not they're faithful with you or anything. And what you can do when your partner is insecure, I feel like, is analyze the situation. Is it accurate? Is their insecurity, you know, truthful? That's the hard part, right? Because your partner is the person you trust the most and the person you rely on. If they feel bad, you start feeling a little bit bad about it. But take a step back and get a broader perspective on the situation, and if their security is not really accurate, for example, Leonie can think that I'm going out with all the Swedish hot ladies in the country. Because, you know, Sweden is famous for that kind of stuff. But that's not true at all. So if Leonie has that insecurity, I can easily convince myself that she is wrong and that her insecurity can be sort of cured. So I try to convince myself that she's wrong, and then I try to convince her that she's wrong. and hopefully I can talk her into being more secure about the situation, that I am in fact only focused on her and she's the only one I love. So yeah, hope that answered your question. I think that's all the time Leonie is gonna give. Bye everybody!
So I'm going to recommend you guys one of my favorite books of all time. So you better really appreciate this and go out there and get a book. But it is called Love Virtually by Daniel Glatauer. Basically the story is told through emails, and I am a huge fan of novels that can successfully portray a beautiful story through technological means, and for this book it is through emails. And basically the story follows two main characters, Leo and Emmy, and basically by chance they find each other's emails and they start emailing each other, and they both have lives outside of obviously the email world, but they kind of come to really appreciate the connection that they have online. And throughout the novel they kind of play with the idea of meeting because they live in the same city, but I won't spoil it for you guys. It's a really cute novel and I really recommend it, and I absolutely love it. This week's featured couple is Nidhi from India and Umberto from Italy. Now Nidhi worked in Naples in Italy for a few months, and afterwards she was browsing photos on Facebook of her friends when she stumbled upon a familiar face, and she realized she saw him while she was working in Naples, and decided to send him a Facebook message, and they've been talking ever since. Umberto visited Nidhi in Mumbai in November 2014, and now they're counting down the days until Nidhi moves to Milan to do her masters. That's fantastic. I hope you have a really great time in doing your masters in Italy. I really wish that I could be an exchange student again. It is such a great life to live. So thank you guys for sending in your LDR story. If you would like to be featured in the next episode of the LDR Chronicles, you can send me an email. All the information is down in the description box and you can check out how you can be featured. Likewise, if you have any LDR questions that you would like to ask me and have me answer, you can send it to my Twitter or my Facebook, or leave it in the comments below with hashtag LDRQuestions. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day, great week, and yeah, see you guys later. Bye! My hair is such a disgrace. It's like, what is this? It's like a triangle. I can shape it into a triangle. Beautiful, so beautiful.